Hey guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. I have a cold. It's annoying. I can't wait for summer. I want to jump right into this first one, but it's so good. It's so funny. We have a hot mic in Christofino's courtroom, and it's great. We have um, a courtroom in Indiana, I believe, that has a new camera system. So there's a pro se guy in there, and I didn't. Nothing really weird happens. There's a little bit because he's pro se, but the camera is so great. So I'm going to show you that, and then we get to see the face of this judge in Georgia, and I'm so happy that we get to see this. But I can't wait anymore. We're going into this hot mic. Here we go.
Mr. Sims, can you hear me okay?
No, he can't.
Mr. Sims, I'm going to unmute you, Mr. Sims.
Don't
Says
do it.
Anthony, it's got to be you. Mr. Sims, is that you?
You can't help yourself.
Anthony Sims, is that you?
Then you always talking about why haven't I bought you anything?
Hey, Mr. Sims,
Why should
I
I?
don't ever talk about why you didn't buy me anything.
And you keep taking everything back from me that you buy.
This is Judge
And we can't
Christofino.
even stay good long enough to do something special for you. Every day we argue, literally. We might have an hour or two where we are good.
Anthony, you're in court.
Yes, you are.
Can you
Bet
hear
you
us?
can't admit that.
Mr. Sims, you're making me nervous. I don't want to be a witness to any future crimes, even if I'm just hearing them. Can you hear me okay? It's Judge Christofino.
Yes, I'm here, sir.
There you go. There we got you. There we go, Mr. Sims. Hang on there now. Just hang on. You're giving Mr. Johnson, your attorney, a heart attack there.
No, I was talking to a lady friend of mine.
We gathered that. We gathered that, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Pitt, Mr. Swaby all gathered that.
Oh,
Sorry,
poor guy.
sir.
That's okay. We're not on the record yet. You didn't do anything wrong yet. Okay, let's get on the record, okay?
That poor guy. I feel bad for him, but nothing really bad happened. He was just having an argument. I wanted to hear more. I really did. All right. Let's look at the face of this judge. Okay, so if you remember, there's this judge down in Albany, Georgia, and I don't play his cases very often because I don't understand a word that he says. I can't understand his words. It's all like rah 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 rah, and it's hilarious because people answer him. He says things, and people answer him. So this sort of reminded me of Middleton because he's really friendly with this guy, but we get to see his face for once. So we're gonna dive right in. It's 4 minutes long. It's not long.
Thank you.
Thank you. City of Albany versus Ian Jamal Jones, failure to yield, accident, please no.
See, we can hear her. She's fine.
So, defendant. I believe he was driving for Albany Tech, so get an insurance claim letter may be a challenge. About Albany Tech? Yes, sir. So that means you need jail time? That way?
There he is.
Got PDL.
Yes, sir.
You got it pretty quick, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
I don't have your head.
About 4 months now.
You trying to mess it up already?
No, sir. Not at least one.
You finished school last year?
Yes, sir.
Monroe needs you. You went Monroe?
Yes, sir.
They need you on that baseball team. Bad. Monroe got some good money.
What?
You know this young man for a long time. Coached him and everything. Got the Monroe team last year.
Yeah, we had to go through.
Y'all didn't beat Dorton last year.
Okay, well,
I'm not showing favor to the daughter. You know, even though she's with an Albany tech truck.
yes, sir.
They had insurance on it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nothing.
So that's our Georgia judge. We won't go through this whole case, but you can't. I don't understand a word he says ever, ever. People reply to him like, like he's speaking normal, and it's just hilarious when I watch him. All right, now we're just gonna go look at it. We're not gonna see the whole thing because we don't need to. I just gotta show you these new cameras they got. Now, they spent all this money on these new cameras, but wait till you hear their audio.
22 DO 323
I bumped it up.
1718. I know we've got a final pretrial set for May 1st and jury trial are
So the top is a panoramic of the entire courtroom. See, that's the judge on the left, and that's the judge on the right. It cut her in half. It's great, but it gets a little annoying. You'll see what I mean.
court trial set for June 17th. Maybe we do have jury trial set. I'll have to look. I think it is jury trial. Ms. Stigton, did you have anything that you wanted to note for the court today?
If I could just inquire on the record with Mr. Druin. Mr. Druin, are you interested in having any kind of conversation regarding plea negotiations in your case, or are you intending to proceed to trial?
We dismissal with prejudice.
Okay, so you are not interested in negotiation. Thank you, Judge. I don't think that there's anything else needed for the pretrial conference at this time.
So that's the new camera system, and it sort of reminds me of Creepshow. Remember Creepshow? You know, with the little comic strip. And anytime someone makes a noise, it'll throw them up and move them around, and everybody's moving around, and they're closing and opening and moving the whole time. So it's cool at first, but it does get a little annoying after a while. Hopefully, though, since they invested in this new camera system, they'll invest in some audio equipment because you can't hear what he says at all. Oh my gosh, I didn't unmute. Hey Carolyn, hey Kelly. So, yeah, hopefully this court invests in some audio now that they have this new camera that reminds me of Creepshow. Do you remember Creepshow with the comic strips? And these things, every time someone talks, it opens them up and moves everybody around, and so people are opening and closing and moving the whole time. It's cool at first. It just gets a little annoying after that. But this next one, we're in Christofino again, and it's the WebEx, so the audio and video don't match exactly. I tried to doctor it, but I was late for my stream today because I was trying to mess with this stupid audio for this. Oh no, I wasn't muted. Sorry, Kelly. So just listen to it. Because if you try to watch it, the mouths don't move right. It just gets annoying. But let's see people fighting over mommy. And Christofino is annoyed. He is annoyed.
20 CO1 9407 GU 33, guardianship of Cynthia Jones. So I have nobody on WebEx. I think everybody is here in person. Let me see who all is here. Mr. Schuler, you're the only one I recognize out of everybody. So I've got Attorney Donald Schuler in court in person for Walker Resources LLC and also Courtney Sponseller.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Do you represent anybody else?
No.
Who's seated at your table?
This is Erica Campbell from Authorized Representative for Walker Resources LLC.
Hang on a minute. Erica Campbell, right?
Correct.
And who else?
Courtney Sponseller. They're the petitioners in this matter.
This table, who have I got?
I'm Christopher Jones, and this is my mother, Cynthia Jones.
Mr. Jones, are you an attorney?
I'm not.
So, give me your first name again.
Christopher.
Christopher.
Yes.
Okay, you're standing. Can you sit?
Yes, I wanted to give you this petition, or we filled it out downstairs and they said we would be allowed to give it to you, so.
Petition for what?
This is I would just like to, can I approach?
You don't know what the petition is?
Well, you want me to read it out loud?
No, I don't. Did you show it to opposing
It's a
counsel?
request for a continuance.
Did you show it to Mr. Schuler?
I can now, yes.
Don't you think you should?
I wanted to wait on your direction.
Well, I'm the judge. I'm not the attorney. I don't give legal advice.
Understood.
I make sure everybody gets a fair trial. Did you have a chance to review it, Mr. Schuler?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay, now I'm gonna be very interested in why the clerk told you to bring it up to me and didn't file it. I have no clue. Would you like to approach and hand that to me, please?
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor.
You have a seat back there. I'm gonna be just flat out candid with you, Mr. Jones. You're gonna have to tell me what you want accomplished from this minute sheet, because it is nearly incomprehensible to me.
Okay.
So let's start with getting on the record, because we have not done that yet. Let's get on the record.
Okay.
All we're doing is talking right now. I don't do a lot of that. May not seem that.
I forgot about this part. Don't worry, this only lasts a second. I was trying to fix the audio in the middle of it by refreshing it, and it wouldn't let me refresh it. I had to open up another browser. Now we're back.
Mr. Jones files with the court a minute sheet and also, I don't know what the significance of this is. This is a cause number. What's the significance of the cause number?
Your Honor, that is the cause number for the estate of Sharon K. Nussbaum.
Okay, what does the estate have to do with this guardianship?
Sharon K. Nussbaum is deceased and was her guardian.
Let me ask it another way. That part I know.
Okay.
But what does the estate have to do, the estate proceeding itself have to do with this guardianship? Because I'm not following what the connection is.
Okay.
Certainly I would need to know that the appointed guardian is now deceased. That would be the reason why we would look for a successor guardian. But I don't know why we would be referencing, for the record, 20 DO2 2401 EM5, which it would be a miscellaneous estate, which that in itself is somewhat peculiar, unless all we're doing is spreading the will of record. So again, I'm going to ask you, what's the connection between the two? If there isn't one, just tell me there isn't one.
There is. So it's my understanding that the estate and this case are in two different courts. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I thought that it might be easier to handle it in the same court, as she's not been informed about anything that's been happening.
Who is she?
My mother, Cynthia Jones, has not been informed about anything that has been happening with this estate. We got a letter, her and I.
Hold on a second. That's a matter that you would take up with Elkhart Superior Court 2 in the estate. Again, we're back to my same question. You're talking, Mr. Jones, but that's a long way of answering my question, which is they're not connected.
Okay. I'm not an attorney and I was not.
Yeah, they're not connected. If you want to try and get them all in the same court, I guess you can do that. I don't know. I'm having a hard time figuring out how the two would be connected, other than what you've already told me. That Sharon Nussbaum was the guardian and she's now deceased. I got that. But I don't see how Superior Court 2 is going to make a decision on the guardianship unless you transfer the guardianship to Superior Court 2. By the way, that's under the new filing, that's not where it would go. Judge Bowers would have the estate. Judge Bowers would not have the guardianship. The guardianship would end up going to the family division. By the way, it only goes there if I order it transferred there. Now, I'm looking down your list, so I think we've, Mr. Schuler, I should give you, I just don't see what the connection is. You know more about this than I do. Is there a connection between this estate and this guardianship other than what we've talked about?
No, Your Honor.
I don't see how. Is there any way you think that these two would be connected, that the guardianship should be transferred to Superior Court 2? I mean, I think that's going to cause a huge problem.
No, Your Honor, and I would just, for more edification purposes, Sharon Nussbaum was a resident of the state of Florida at the time of her death. The proceeding here is just an ancillary proceeding to deal with some real estate that was in her estate. The estate's actually being handled in Florida probate court, so that there's no connection between that proceeding and this guardianship proceeding.
Okay, I think we've handled that part. I don't think the two are connected, other than the former guardian is now deceased. So I'm looking at your minute sheet. You request a change of venue. I don't know what you mean by that. Go ahead and talk.
Okay, so Superior Court number 2, Judge Bowers is handling the estate, yes?
No,
For Sharon.
No, he's handling a piece of real estate in an ancillary matter. What Mr. Schuler just said is the estate's being handled in Florida. If the next words out of your mouth are, you think I'm gonna transfer this guardianship to Florida, I got news for you. That's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I apologize for the confusion. I think that we can move on to the next part of the.
So do you want to withdraw your request for a change of venue?
I feel like if it is appropriate and if there was a connection, but as I'm told right now, I feel like it was a good idea that I brought it up because I've been told now. If there's no connection, then
here's a connection that could come about. I don't know this, but if Ms. Jones is an heir of Sharon K. Nussbaum's estate, that would be a connection. That wouldn't be a reason why the guardianship would be transferred anyplace, though. And that's the request I hear you making, is a request that you transfer the guardianship to Superior Court 2.
So can I ask you, what do you mean by like the heir of the estate and a connection? Can you go further into that?
I don't know what words I would use.
I don't know what words to use.
Okay, so here's the deal. You either have to educate yourself on the law or you got to hire an attorney.
Right.
You're the same boat as anybody else who's in my court self-represented.
So, Your Honor, I respectfully request a continuance so she is able to get legal counsel and we can further proceed with this. Counsel is needed.
Let's continue down here. So I don't know what this word is. Cynthia Ann Jones is not incapacitated. Is that what you were trying to say?
That's correct.
Nor is she incompetent. Is that what you were trying to say?
That's correct.
She needs legal representation.
That is correct.
Does she have sufficient funds to hire an attorney?
Courtney Sponseller has the funds for those, for that. Yes, she does. We have attempted to hire attorneys. We've engaged with attorneys, engagement letters, and it hasn't, we sent the information and it wasn't enough according to her, so.
According to whom? Who's her?
Courtney Sponseller. She's the one who controls the finances. And the finances are absolutely there for my mother to have legal representation. It also states in the will that if something like this were to occur.
Whose will?
Sharon Nussbaum's will. That Cynthia would,
Your Honor,
be entitled to.
I'm objecting a little bit of concerns here because at this point he's essentially testifying without being underneath oath. He's not an attorney, as he said, and yet he's speaking on behalf of Cynthia Jones. If she wants to make a request and she's not represented by counsel, she can do that on her own, not through him. He represents himself, not her. And I think that's being a little bit muddied at this point. We're ready to proceed to present the basic evidence towards the petition that was requested, which is for successor guardians to be named.
And the successor guardian was going to be Walker Resources LLC?
Walker Resources LLC for the person, and then Courtney Sponseller for the estate. And we would have evidence to show why that just split's being made.
Now, Your Honor, may I speak?
Sure, but here's the problem, Mr. Jones. I started out with, are you an attorney?
I'm not an attorney.
No, listen to me. Stop talking, please, and listen. Listen, the reason I asked that question is because if you were an attorney, you could, and you appeared on behalf of Cynthia Jones, you could speak for Cynthia Jones.
I'm personally representing her.
No, you're not. That's practicing law without a license. Be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. It's a Class B misdemeanor. Be very, very careful, Mr. Jones.
I'm not understanding.
So what we're here for today is a verified petition for appointment of successor guardian. That's what's before me right now.
Okay.
Not everything else that you brought up with this minute sheet.
Okay.
And you presented nothing in the minute sheet or the time I've given you to talk about this that would provide the court with sufficient evidence to do anything you've requested that I do.
Okay, Your Honor. As for evidentiary,
you're going to have to file something that is a proper motion, not a minute sheet. That's procedural, that's not legal advice.
Okay.
Mr. Schuler, we're here on verified petition to appoint successor guardians. Let's hear from you, please.
We would ask Courtney Sponseller be sworn in to provide testimony.
The Sponseller, raise your right hand. Face me. Stand up, face me. Raise your right hand. You swear and affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth.
Yes.
State your name.
I, Courtney Sponseller.
Right up here. For the record, I'm denying the relief requested in the minute sheet filed by Christopher Jones with the court in court this morning, March 22nd, 2024, because Mr. Jones has not presented the court with a proper motion requesting relief under Indiana law, and because there has been no evidence presented that would support any of his requested relief. We are now turning to what was set this morning, the verified petition for appointment of successor guardian, and we have direct examination of Courtney Sponseller, beginning by you, Mr. Schuler.
State your name again for the record, Courtney.
Courtney Sponseller.
And could you just quickly identify yourself and your relation with the other parties here today?
Cynthia Jones is my mother. Christopher Jones is my brother. And Sharon Nussbaum was my grandmother.
And you caused a verified petition to remove guardian and to appoint a substitute guardian in this cause. Is that correct?
Yes.
And were you aware of that your mother Cynthia had a guardianship prior to taking that action?
Yes, sir.
Could you just briefly tell us how you came to be aware of that guardianship?
Well, my mother, Cynthia Jones, was in a car accident in 1994. And at that time, my grandmother, Sharon Nussbaum, took guardianship of her. Starting in 2015, my grandmother made efforts to set things up so that there wouldn't be any lapses in my mother's care after she passed, at least financially.
And did that include establishing a special needs trust for Cynthia?
That did.
And who is the trustee of that special needs trust?
I am.
When did your grandmother pass away?
September 24th, 2023.
Say that again.
September 24th, 2023.
Hang on a minute. Go ahead, Mr. Schuler.
Do you believe that your mother Cynthia is still in need of a guardianship?
I do.
Can you tell us briefly why?
Well, she's had a guardian for the last 30 years. I do not feel that her condition has changed or improved since, the last several years of my grandmother having guardianship of her. I feel that she has had some struggles managing her own care.
Does Cynthia receive any income?
She does receive Social Security disability benefits.
And does she receive those payments directly, or does she have a representative payee?
She has a representative payee.
And who is that representative payee?
Me.
When we filed this petition in this case, did you later subsequently file a letter from a doctor regarding your mother's conditions?
Yes.
And was that previously submitted to this court as an Exhibit A? There was a October 20, 2022 letter from a Dr. Miller?
I believe so, yes.
And you obtained that in furtherance of seeking guardianship for your mother? Correct.
Well, I obtained that letter to help get her assistance with real services. So they needed that letter.
Do you recall what diagnoses were listed on that letter?
There were quite a few, but I do know some. I know she was diagnosed with traumatic brain injury, ataxia, some spinal disorders, and I'm sorry, I don't remember everything listed.
Anybody have an objection if the court, excuse me, if the court accepts into evidence and part of the record the letter of Dr. Brian A. Miller, which is Exhibit A? Mr. Schuler, any objection?
No, Your Honor. That's what we would request.
What's your objection?
I don't feel I needed guardian.
Okay, that objection is overruled. Court, Mr. Jones?
Your Honor, these exhibits and any of this evidence has not been presented to either one of Cynthia or I.
It's public record, Mr. Jones.
It has not been presented to Cynthia or I, and the doctor's letters, is it not protected? There's no doctor here present.
I'm not sure what you mean when you say protected.
I can give a copy of what was filed in the court to Mr. Jones, but it seems like the objections at this point might go more to way to them than to any type of admissibility standard.
So Cynthia is now seeing this for the first time. Exhibit A, and we need legal counsel. Testimony is being given, and I'm not an attorney. I am in over my head right now. We need legal counsel before anything could damage, or just anything could damage anything. She needs legal representation.
Okay, so where we're at is we're in the middle of the evidentiary hearing on the verified petition that was properly filed with the court. And where we're at is whether that Exhibit A is going to be made part of the record. I'm overruling your objection, and I'm going to make Exhibit A part of the record. That's the letter from Dr. Brian A. Miller, because I've heard no reason that would not occur.
Your Honor, if an attorney was here to represent her, I feel like the process is going.
Mr. Jones?
She needs an attorney.
Well, Mr. Jones, then somebody should have hired an attorney.
And we tried, Your Honor. Courtney would not give the money.
Mr. Jones, you're again asking me for legal advice. You just got done saying that things could happen that are going to be, I forget your exact words, but that there's going to be damage. So let me be clear on this. In guardianships, this happens all the time. I enter an order, and if Cynthia, if you don't like the order, Mr. Jones, if you don't like the order, you hire an attorney and you file the proper paperwork with the court, a proper motion under Indiana law, and you seek relief. And it may be granted or it may not be granted. I wouldn't have any way of knowing until I saw the motion and the evidence to support it. Just like I don't know what's going to happen this morning until I hear evidence. I'm in the middle of doing that. Mr. Schuler, continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Courtney, you mentioned, just to back up a little bit, that you're the representative payee for your mother's Social Security.
Yes.
And you're also the trustee of the Special Needs Trust that was established for her benefit.
Correct.
So is there any other finances that your mother has outside of those two resources?
Not that I know of.
In filing this petition, you were seeking to be named as guardian of your mother's estate, correct?
Correct.
For the purposes of managing her finances?
Correct.
And you contacted Walker Resources LLC to request their assistance to be guardian of the person?
Correct.
Can you briefly explain to the court why you made that request?
Cynthia has expressed that she does not want me to be her guardian, but I feel that it would be unwise for my brother Christopher to be her guardian, or for her to be her own guardian. So I thought a third party could help to mediate things and help her make decisions that are best for her.
And do you believe that having you appointed as guardian of the estate and Walker Resources appointed as guardian of the person is in your mother's best interest?
I do.
And my final question, Cynthia, have you ever been convicted of any crime?
I have not.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Cynthia Jones, do you have any questions of Courtney Sponseller?
I was not given the right to get counsel.
Is there a question?
Excuse me, just hang on. And are you done with your question? Yes?
Do you have any other questions for Courtney?
Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones.
Counsel.
Hold on.
Oh.
Ms. Jones, Mr. Jones. I don't know why you are talking to your mother in that fashion. You sound like you're the judge. I'm looking around. Only one person here wearing a black robe. It's me.
I understand.
She's in the middle of doing cross-examination of a witness. You're gonna have your turn in a minute. I started with your mother. Ms. Jones, again, do you have any questions for Courtney Sponseller?
No.
Thank you. Your turn, Mr. Jones. Any questions for Courtney Sponseller?
Thank you, Your Honor. Walker Resources, are they affiliated with your counsel's law firm?
I don't believe so.
And can you please describe what your responsibilities are as a guardian?
Well, my goal as far as defining responsibilities will be for me to manage her Social Security disability benefits in terms of paying her rent and utilities and things, necessities that she requires. And my goal for Walker Resources would be to help her to arrange care and make healthcare decisions and everyday, day-to-day lifestyle decisions.
My next question is, when is the last time you have attended an appointment with Cynthia with doctors?
It's been a while.
You know the last time?
I do not.
Would you say maybe 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years?
Probably at least 6 months, because I know it was prior to our grandmother's passing.
And with this doctor's note, Exhibit A, from Mr. Brian Miller, dated 10/20/22, were you present at this appointment?
She and I were actually at the appointment together, I believe, because we asked for that letter to give to Real Services.
On 10/20/22.
Honestly, I don't remember. That was over a year and a half ago.
Should we show her this document?
I've seen it. I don't need to see it.
One second. Okay. Isn't it true that you refuse to take Cynthia anywhere, to pick her up, to do anything in regards to her care, besides hiring an attorney and showing up to appointments? I'm just confused.
Well, hold on a
with
second.
the guardianship.
Well, Mr. Jones, you gotta ask questions. You were doing fine, and then you went into a narrative. You can't do that.
My apologies.
You wanna rephrase your question, please?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
when is the last time that you have personally done anything for Cynthia?
Around New Year's.
And can I ask what you did?
My family and I were in Indianapolis. We took our kids to the Children's Museum, and she called me because her heat was out. So we left and came home, and my husband, Jeremy, and I went over to her house and worked on getting it going for her because it was really cold.
And was I there?
I don't remember.
You don't remember if I was there?
I mean, I think that you were. I know that we were there, and somebody else, like an acquaintance of hers, showed up to help too.
And I was there, right?
Probably, yes.
So my next question is, when it comes to transportation, who's responsible for getting her back and forth to appointments? Who's responsible for getting her to places that she needs to be?
I don't really know. Currently, she has no guardian with that responsibility, if I'm understanding correctly. I don't know.
I asked about transportation. Who's responsible for her transportation?
Her, probably.
Isn't it true that you have refused to show up to the last 4 appointments that you were invited to?
It is true that I have refused to attend appointments or have any in-person contact with Cynthia since she has expressed that she does not want me to be her guardian and is not interested in having a relationship with me.
Now, this may be an open-ended question. I'm going to do my best to ask it. Bear with me a second here. Trying to gather my thoughts. Guardianship. What would it take for you to make amends with Cynthia and start being more interactive on attending appointments and helping her with what she needs help with?
I think that's a very personal question, and I don't really know how to answer that right now.
It's very important because we find ourselves in this situation, and
Your Honor, Mr. Jones is
I'm being interrupted.
You're not asking questions, so I object.
So, again, I'm going to sustain that objection. Again, Mr. Jones, you got to ask questions. Ask questions.
Okay.
We're at the evidentiary portion. We're not at arguments. Ask questions.
Okay.
And pick up the pace.
I'm doing my best, Your Honor.
Pick up the pace, Mr. Jones.
Why do you want to be her guardian?
I believe it is in her best interest, A, and B, I know that that is what our grandmother wanted because she put it in her will.
Now, I will say this, Courtney is a very responsible person.
Hold on. Okay, Mr. Jones, you're done asking questions because you're not asking questions.
Well, it was going into a question.
And you started with Courtney's a very responsible person?
She is. It's going into a question.
Let's get to the question pretty quick.
The question is, why is she not attending any appointments? Why is she not helping my mom?
Your Honor, I would object. That's been asked and answered.
Sustained. She's already answered that question. Mr. Jones, look, I get it. You don't like her answer. Well, guess what? Welcome to the world of evidentiary hearings.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
Your Honor, I would just request a continuance and extension of time because my mother needs legal counsel.
Your mother needs to have guardians in place. And again, anything I do today can be undone if you show appropriate evidence to have it undone. That's the nature of guardianships.
Okay.
I know we talk about them. I know we talk about them being permanent orders. I think that for the general public, that's a bit of a misstatement. And the reason I say that is because, gee, they're permanent until they get amended. Like, for example, your grandmother passes away, she was the guardian, gotta have a new guardian. 3 questions, let's hear what they are.
Yes. With my grandmother, what roles have you taken over as responsibilities for Cynthia in your guardianship approach?
Since my grandmother's passing, I have taken over the responsibility of paying for all of her utility and rent bills in the fashion that I know best.
Have you kept Cynthia informed about any of this?
I believe so. I submitted accounting for 2023 from the time that I took over paying the bills until December of 2023.
So December to 2023, what was the previous month that you said? Same year.
Well, Sharon passed away in September, so I took over in October. So the only accounting that I would have access to is what I did from October to December.
Have you kept Cynthia informed on her reasonable request for documentation?
As far as her finances go, I don't know that she's requested any further documentation other than the yearly accounting that I'm required to give her.
Have you explained any of this process to Cynthia? This process that we're in court for right now?
I feel like I have tried. I also feel like Mr. Schuler has had conversations with the two of you regarding this process. So I feel like I have done my best to explain everything.
Can you describe?
Hold on, you're past 3 questions now. I gave you 4 and you're past 3.
All right.
You told me 3. Judges are sticklers on that, Mr. Jones. I'm just telling you, when you tell me you're gonna ask 3, I gave you 4.
Understood.
Done. Redirect, Mr. Schuler.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony. You may step down.
Thank you.
Mr. Schuler, another witness?
Just very briefly, we ask Eric.
Come on up, face me, raise your right hand. Up here. Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirmatively the pains and penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Have a seat up here. Nice big voice. Spell your name for me, please.
It's Erika, last name Campbell.
Mr. Schuler, direct, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Erica, could you state your name again for the record?
Yes, Erika Campbell.
And what is your occupation, Erica?
I'm the president of Walker Resources LLC. We provide professional guardianship and power of attorney services.
And how long have you been providing those services?
We've been in business since 2004.
Do you have any idea how many cases or families and individuals that you have assisted over the last 20 years?
At least 800.
Similar to Ms. Sponseller, you caused a verified petition for a successor guardian to be appointed, to be filed in this case. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And to your knowledge, was everything in that verified petition accurate?
Yes, it is.
And you've heard the testimony of Ms. Sponseller. Was there any testimony that she gave that you thought was inaccurate or that you disagreed with?
No, I did not.
You're aware of the situation that there is some tension in the family, correct?
That's correct.
Is that something that you've had to deal with in your professional responsibilities?
Yes, it is.
And that's something you are very comfortable working with?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you think that you would not be able to serve, or Walker Resources would not be able to serve as guardian of the person of Cynthia Jones?
I don't see any reason.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones, any questions of Ms. Campbell?
Go.
Mr. Jones, any questions of Ms. Campbell?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. How much do your services cost?
It varies. Normally we charge about $80 an hour.
$80 an hour.
Correct.
Do you charge on an annual basis?
Monthly.
So you said that there was around 800 cases that Walker Resources LLC has handled since 2004, is that correct?
Correct.
On average, on a monthly, how much would it cost for your services? On average.
It's dependent on how much I have to do.
What types of things do you have to do?
Well, it depends if we're acting as guardian of person or estate. Depends on what situations come up.
And you said you were 80 an hour?
It varies, but that's roughly, yes.
Roughly, okay. Can you describe, Mr. Schuler brought up tension in the family. Can you describe some situations that would apply to that? Like how it's handled by Walker Resources LLC?
Well, we normally work with the individual themselves and try to be the go-between if there's some argumentative there. Sometimes it's easier for a third party to be the ear and help manage the situation.
You said that you filed a petition with the court. Can you describe that?
The petition was filed by...
Hold on, whoa. You've got to rephrase that.
Okay.
And the other part is, Mr. Jones, whether you've read it or not, I have.
Okay.
And I'm capable of reading it. So if you've got specific questions that you want to ask Ms.
Okay.
That's appropriate.
Okay.
That general question is not. Go ahead.
What types of services would you be handling with Cynthia?
Well, with Cynthia, we would be guardian of person. So I understand that, you know, if we need to bring in somebody to help with manage her daily care, we could bring in somebody that helps manage her medications. If it would really be dependent upon speaking with her and finding out what does she need help with on a regular basis.
Are you aware that she is enrolled with Real Services and is getting assistance from them?
I've been told, yes.
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
Any further redirect?
No, Your Honor.
You may step down. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Additional evidence or testimony, Mr. Schuler?
No, Your Honor.
You rest, correct?
Yes.
Cynthia Jones, do you have any testimony or evidence you want to present?
No.
Christopher Jones, do you have any testimony or evidence you want to present?
I want to be careful. I'm not fully sure how far I can go.
So that's not responsive. You may think it is, but that's not responsive to my question. My question is, do you have any testimony or evidence you wish to present?
Yes, my mom lives on her own.
So this is argument, not testimony or evidence.
Testimony, we need a continuance. She needs legal counsel. And
More argument. Okay, I'm gonna take that you do not have testimony or evidence. That closes the evidentiary portion of the trial. Now, it's time for argument, which I think is what you want to give. We're gonna start with Mr. Schuler because it's your client's petition. Mr. Schuler, argument, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would just very briefly note, the guardianship has already been established in this case. This is a 1994 case. So the guardianship is in place. The person who was the appointed guardian, the evidence shows, died last September. And Courtney Sponseller, Walker Resources have made a verified petition to the court to be named successor guardian. They've established that they both have the means and the capability and are willing to serve in those roles to continue to provide the necessary services for Cynthia in this matter. I would note specifically as to the guardian of the estate that Ms. Sponseller is already the representative payee for the Social Security disability income that Ms. Jones receives, and she's been functioning in that role for several years. We'd also note that she is currently the trustee of the Special Needs Trust that has been established for her mother. And so she's already managing the finances for her mother, and this would just allow her to be able to complete her ability to do that going forward. I would note that Walker Resources has a wealth of experience in providing professional guardianship services. They've stated that they're comfortable being guardian of the person in this case, and that both petitioners have testified that they believe that the split role that they're taking will allow them to best serve and best protect the interest of Cynthia going forward. So based on the evidence that's been presented, we would request that the court grant the petition, name Ms. Sponseller as the successor guardian of the estate, name Walker Resources LLC as the successor guardian of the person of Cynthia Jones, and as an additional request, because Ms. Sponseller has an annual accounting requirement underneath the Special Needs Trust, managing those assets which are not Cynthia Jones' individual or personal assets, and is also subject to accounting to Social Security for the representative payee, we would ask that the accounting and inventory be waived going forward up until some time that Ms. Jones' individual income exceeds $20,000 in a given year.
Why would we need an inventory on an existing?
I was sorry, just meant the accounting. Not
Yeah, I mean, here's where I think we're at, Mr. Schuler. If I'm wrong, again, just tell me, but here's where I think we're at. This is an existing guardianship. So there should have been an inventory done back in 1994. You're now in a different position. If there, you could do a second inventory if there's a reason to do so, but it seems to me that we've had accountings now. I agree you would continue to do the accountings because you're doing accountings in two other areas. It seems to me unless all of a sudden Cynthia Jones has assets that exceed 20,000 seems reasonable, that you would do away with those because you would have the other accountings that have to be done for both Social Security and for the Special Needs Trust. I mean, you're gonna have, this is not unlike other guardianships. There's gonna be two areas where they're gonna have to be accountings done.
I get you, Ryan.
I interrupt.
The inventory and
Yeah.
just asking as an additional request that the statutory guardianship accountings be waived because the other accountings are necessary and are obligated to be performed. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Hang on a minute. Okay, now, Ms. Jones, is there a closing argument you want to make?
No.
Now's the time for argument. Mr. Jones, argument you want to make?
I feel that.
Oh, I thought you didn't want to, Ms. Jones. Hang on a minute. Do you want to make a closing argument?
Oh, no.
No, okay. Mr. Jones, your turn. Do you want to make a closing argument?
I would like to know what she was gonna say. Okay, counsel is needed, requesting a continuance objection to guardianship. We need adequate time for legal counsel, and that's all I have.
Thank you. So let's be clear, everyone. I am under no delusion that I can solve the family issues that you have, nor am I going to try to do that with an order here today. You want to solve your family tension as it was testified to? Well, you know the best way to do that? Communicate. I don't mean screaming at one another. I mean, start out with, hey, I love you, Mom. You know, Cynthia, hey, might not be a bad idea to say, I love you, Courtney. Same for brother and sister. You want to start with love and then work through the tension until you all get along. Because Cynthia, I hope you have a long life. I hope you have a long life. This may be going on for a while. I know this, and I'm sure it's true in this case. I didn't hear much about this today. but I know this is true. You have a guardianship set up, it's existing, it started in 1994. I find that, that's of record. Unfortunately, you lost the guardians. You lost the last guardian. That creates a void. In guardianships, you got to fill the void. So again, I would say it seems clear to me from the evidence, and I find there's clear and convincing evidence that Cynthia Jones needs a guardian, and we need to get one in place sooner as opposed to later, so that we make sure that Cynthia, your person, is cared for, and the financial part, the estate, is cared for. Again, I'm going to remind everybody, that doesn't mean it can't be amended. All I heard from you that was useful today, Mr. Jones, was that you need time to hire an attorney. Well, take as much time as you want and have the attorney file the appropriate pleading with the court based on the appropriate evidence, and you'll get a hearing. You're not going to get that done with a minute sheet. And it seems to me there's been a lot of time allowed since Sharon Nussbaum's death to get this resolved, and that hasn't happened. No, my turn to talk. Your turn's done. Nobody else is talking. Let's be clear on that. Nobody else is talking. Judge's turn. Judge's turn. I gave you all a chance to talk. My turn. Mark this for Amy. Cause coming on for hearing on verified petition for appointment of successor guardians. Petitioner Courtney Sponseller appears in person. Petitioner Walker Resources LLC appears by Erica Campbell, and both petitioners appear by their attorney, Donald Schuler. The subject of the guardianship, Cynthia Jones, appears in person as a self-represented litigant. Christopher Jones appears in person and is also self-represented. Court denies all relief requested by Christopher Jones in the minute sheet filed with the court during the hearing on March 22nd, 2024. Based on the minute sheet being an improper motion under Indiana law and based on a lack of evidence to support the relief requested. Court heard testimony from Courtney Sponseller. Court heard testimony from Erica Campbell. Cynthia Jones declined to present testimony or evidence. Christopher Jones declined to present testimony or evidence. Court heard closing arguments from attorney Donald Schuler and Christopher Jones. Court now finds, by clear and convincing evidence, all of the following. A guardianship exists under cause number 20CL1-9407-GU33, and Cynthia Ann Jones is the subject of that guardianship. Court finds that Cynthia Ann Jones is still an incapacitated person under Indiana law. Court makes that finding based on the testimony in court and the evidence received, that being the letter from Dr. Brian Miller. Court further finds that it would be in Cynthia Ann Jones' best interest if a successor guardian was appointed over her person and her estate. Court finds that co-guardians Dion Nussbaum and Sharon K. Nussbaum are now both deceased, and therefore by operation of law are removed as co-guardians. Court further finds, again, all by clear and convincing evidence, that petitioner Courtney Sponseller is a fit and proper person to be appointed as guardian of the estate of Cynthia Ann Jones, and that Walker Resources LLC by Erica Campbell is a fit and proper person and entity to be appointed as successor guardian of the person of Cynthia Ann Jones. Court further finds that it would be in Cynthia Ann Jones' best interest if the court appointed Courtney Sponseller as successor guardian of her estate, and Walker Resources LLC by Erica Campbell as successor guardian of her person. Court therefore orders that Courtney Sponseller be appointed successor guardian of the estate of Cynthia Ann Jones, and that Walker Resources by Erica Campbell be appointed successor guardian of the person of Cynthia Ann Jones. Court orders the clerk of the court to issue letters of guardianship so stating upon the petitioners filing the appropriate oaths with the court. Due to the limited resources and income of Cynthia Ann Jones, Courtney Sponseller may serve as guardian without bond. Erica Campbell and Walker Resources LLC are required to carry corporate bond as required under Indiana law. Additionally, court waives the requirement that Courtney Sponseller file biannual accountings unless the income and assets of Cynthia Ann Jones exceed $20,000 annually. Court notes that Courtney Sponseller will be required to provide accountings as a result of being the payee of the Social Security benefits of Cynthia Ann Jones, and also as a result of her being the trustee of the Special Needs Trust for Cynthia Ann Jones. All per order of the court, it is so ordered. I don't think I forgot anything, Mr. Schuler. If I did, you can let me know.
I think it had everything I needed, Your Honor.
And again, this is not legal advice. Mr. Jones, you are free to hire an attorney and file anything you want to file that's appropriate in this guardianship. But your mother's going to be taken care of until such time as you do. Ms. Jones, good luck to you. Good luck to you, okay? Be careful getting out of here. Everybody, watch your step at that swinging door. Everybody falls in here. There's no falling in circuit court. Thank you all.
He was talking annoyingly slow at the end, only because the other lawyer had to get everything down for the record so that he could submit it. That's why it was so annoying. Yeah, it is a beautiful courthouse, but the problem with his courthouse is like there's like a major highway or something right outside his door, and it is loud. It's always loud. Fire trucks, regular trucks, horns blowing. I don't know if he keeps the windows wide open or not. This is Indiana, so I don't know how. I have no idea how cold it is in Indiana right now. I just no idea. But yeah, it's annoying with his courtroom. I just loved the hot mic. That hot mic was awesome. So I'm so glad I caught it, and I'm glad it wasn't terribly bad. It was just, it's just a couple having an argument. We all have been there. And if people could record us while we were arguing, oh man. Oh, yeah. Maybe that's why I'm divorced, because we had great arguments. uh, I'm going to try to get some sleep. I don't know if I'm going to. My 20-year-old son went to Boston from Pennsylvania. Before he left, I gave him 3 rules. I said, don't run out of gas. Don't speed, and for the love of God, do not drink and drive at all. I mean, he's going to see his college buddies, so said do not drink and drive. Those are my 3 rules. 2 hours into the drive, he calls me, hey Mom, I ran out of gas in New York. Oh God, so he's stuck in New York. The cops came and his license was expired. And then I was on speakerphone, so I heard it once he got gas. I called roadside assistance. So once he got gas, the cop said, and by the way, we were looking for you. We were looking for you because we got a lot of calls about a Pennsylvania plate flying past everybody on the highway. Oh, Jesus. So he broke 2 of my rules within 2 hours of leaving. So, yeah, kids, man. Telling you. I should have said, please drive drunk, please go as fast as you possibly can, and please run out of gas. Because if I told him to do it, there's no way he would have done it. That was my fault. I got to get better at this. Well, I got to work a double today, but I think I still have some. We'll see. I have to work a double today, so we'll see what happens in 24 hours if I'm talking to y'all or not. I'm going to try my best. I hope you guys have a great, great Saturday or Sunday or whatever day you're at. And I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate it.